All right, everybody, welcome to another thrilling installment of Moonhawk Studios Presents. I am your host, Mac Paladin.
I got caught.
Wait, there's my TikTok going crazy over there. With me in the studio, as always, is my good friend Adam.
Do you want to give that another run through?
What? No, I
That
think
intro.
I think that was plenty clippable right there.
Okay.
So, with me in the studio, as always, is my good friend Adam.
Yes, I have already acknowledged you for the week.
Jesus.
Wah, 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 wow. Kevin's here.
Yeah, here. That was my fish, by the way, in the back singing. That wasn't TikTok.
You've got one of those talking basses.
Yeah, no,
Why
but
does that not surprise me?
Yeah, I was like, no, but you wish I did.
Oh no.
Remember what we always tell Petty Fan about not trying to be coy on stream?
I mean,
You fail at it, so just keep doing it.
For the record, I don't have one, but I was just joking. Considering that sounded like that.
Sinking fish. Speaking
And a
of
singing
Petty
fish,
Fan,
Anyway.
Speaking of Petty Fan,
I did not die in the interim week.
always a plus for you, I suppose.
Or minus, depending on how I'm feeling that day.
Like I said, I will let you be the judge of that.
Yeah.
And we got the Galax.
Hi.
Well, as far as scuffed intros go, that was pretty universal all around right there. So congratulations, everybody.
What did I do?
I shook up the I shook up the show already, so basically it had to end in a muted. Yeah. I'm here.
I said hi.
Good work, everybody. Good show. I'll see you next week.
Get over here.
The intro, boys.
Yeah.
That's it. We've achieved all of our goals in life. It's time to quit. Well, time to quit while we're ahead. But no, we do actually have a guest this week. So we can't skip out on that. But before we get to that, let's do our usual roundup. Adam, what have you got?
So this past weekend, my brother brought his clan, let's say, up for, well, he had hoped for the weekend, but things didn't quite pan out, so it was just the day. And I mean, it was nice seeing them to a point. Look, kids are exhausting.
Mood.
Yep, I can attest.
You work in a theater.
Yes.
No, I work in a theater, one, and I also live in a house where kids show up from time to time. So, yeah, I know how it works.
Yeah. I'm like, and the kids discovered that I have Among Us on my laptop here.
Oh, boy.
So, yes. Tried to keep the fist fights to a minimum. I wish I were joking about that.
As long as they don't use the laptop as a weapon, we're fine.
Yeah. I'm like, my youngest nephew is 5, so he has a bit of an issue about touching things because he's 5. Yeah.
There was a perfect
Anyway.
There was a perfect bit from a comedian that I can't use because he's canceled.
Anyway, and yeah, if anyone's wondering why I linked this Akado thing in the Discord, because my oldest nephew was introducing me to the world of Aikido. Like it's very, very mid-2000s trend chasing material. Like, I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to be ripping off, but it looks like it's ripping off everything at once, doesn't it? Like, if you told me it was ripping off Skylanders, I'd believe it. It was ripping off Beyblade, I'd certainly believe it. It's like, it's not bad. It's just, it's very, very kid-centric and very written for kids. So actually watching the web series is very inane. Look, and I will fully acknowledge that the stuff I watched growing up was like that as well. I'm not somebody who will defend the original Transformers, or G.I. Joe. No, the writing was usually pretty terrible on that. Just maybe in different
Buy all our
ways.
playsets and toys.
I mean, how can you disparage that? That's like the era where J. Michael Straczynski wrote everything.
I mean, it's more of a Ninja Turtles problem than anything else. But I suppose the charming thing about that era was everything was a lot more cornball. It's like this is just drywall.
They try to play it too straight.
Very much so. So you get a lot of dialogue of, look, you have the item that allows you to do 2 points of damage. Honestly, reminds me a lot of. I brought this up on the other show. It reminds me a lot of 4Kids Yu-Gi-Oh. With how they describe the card attacks.
Oof.
Yeah, it's it's pretty inane stuff. It's like the fortunate thing is the individual episodes are 5 minutes. Fortunately, they compile this, so that was a mind-numbing 45 minutes. Might be 5 minutes. Anyway, so I'm in for more of that because my brother's birthday is not this week but next week, and he wants to see me more and stuff like that. So it means more enduring of the children's programming.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm like, so more inane programming awaits. Anyway, Kevin, what have you been doing this week?
Well, pretty much the same way as it is most weeks around me. Nothing, other than being at the movies at the movie theater every weekend. That's about it. So that's the case this week. So that's it for me. Patty, what's your news?
Let's see.
We've already established not dead.
Yeah. Sunday, my sister and I did the try scuba diving thing, and that was pretty in fun.
Pretty in fun.
See about getting.
Pretty in fun.
What,
the way you hesitated and then tried to skim your way through that.
It was pretty fun. Yeah, words are hard, bro. It's not like I do a podcast or something.
No. I was thinking more along the lines of you were trying to course correct and not say something disparaging about it.
Yeah, no, my brain does function, maybe. But yeah, so that was fun. We're going to see about getting certified at some point, but there's other stuff that needs to happen before that. And then today I've learned that the disk drive in my Xbox 360 is dead, so that's fun. So I either need to figure out what it would take to just say screw it and get a Slim and a transfer cable and send all my data to a 360 Slim, or what I want to do from here, because I know the 360 store is shutting down this summer. So I need to make a decision relatively soon. So I can make sure I get my purchases backed up. And I'm thinking the Slim might be the way to go, because that can take adapted hard drives where the original 360s can't. But yeah, I know this will be.
I have a beige and I have a Slim, and I can tell you that with an external case you can do it, but it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, like the Slims, you just plug a regular SATA drive onto an adapter that you clone the OG drive onto the new one, and it doesn't pair.
You don't need to do shit. Well, if you're transferring data, yeah, but I shoved a 250 gig, just a standard SATA drive, or no, it's 120 gig. I just grabbed a standard 120 gig drive, wrapped it in cardboard, and shoved it into the SATA port on the side of my Slim, and that's where it's been for 10 years.
I thought it used the bastardization of the SATA standard that you need an adapter housing for.
No, the only thing you need the adapter housing for is to make sure it doesn't flop around inside the slot. I put a standard Seagate. I put a standard Seagate 120 gig laptop drive in the hole, wrapped in cardboard, so it doesn't flop around.
Well, I do know a guy with a 3D printer, so I can probably have a more elegant solution made if I need to go that route.
That would be wise. I didn't have that option 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just been sitting it's been sitting in my TV console ever since.
Yeah, with my consoles on my desks, it's probably better to go with a more elegant solution, because it wouldn't. There have been a few times where my mom's cat has decided he wants to clear my desk, and I have come back to my room to find consoles on the floor. And last thing I need is to try and fix a broken SATA port, because, yeah, kitties be kitties.
Not to draw this tangent out too far, but as a sort of random musing related to this subject, I wonder if Microsoft is going to get the same backlash that Sony did when they tried to shut off their store for the PS3, because people were absolutely livid about the fact that they couldn't get their DLC anymore, and so Sony just said, "All right, fine, we'll keep it open forever."
We've got more pressing things in regards to Microsoft.
Oh yeah. I'm sure we'll cover that in the entertainment section, but I just threw that random musing out there since it was related to what it's going through.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I wish I could just put a new disk drive in my 360 and it would save me the trouble of having to buy another one, but fuck you, Microsoft.
You can look for a game store that will do repairs on it, because they will go down to the component level, and if it needs a new laser or a new drive motor, they will put that in for you at substantially lower cost. I mean, unless you can find a used one for $60 like I did, complete with a hard drive and 2 controllers.
Well, I don't even need the hard drive. My hard drive works fine. I mean, yeah, it's small, but
yeah, I actually found this beige one at Goodwill for $30 with 2 controllers and a 60 gig hard drive.
I mean, technically, there is my Jaster 360 that should still have a working drive, but and I guess the only other real things going on in my life is Friday. Somebody should be finally coming to take a look at the pool and see what it would take to get that back up and running. So, yay! Exercise. And yeah, I think that's it from me.
Hey, if it helps, right?
Well, especially because with my leg problems, just going to the gym is not really an option.
Oh, water fitness is fantastic. I love it. I have foot problems.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, I have mobility problems with my hips and knees and feet from various falls in my retail career. So I could definitely relate to that on some level.
getting a membership to the local gym just to use the pool is like $200 a head for, my family. It's like, I could literally build a new pool for that price for the summer.
Ouch.
Yeah, so it's like, just get our pool fixed up.
Get an above ground pool from Big Lots for $2.99.
Yeah, well, it's like we have an above ground pool. It just needs a new liner because a couple of years ago, the people we had doing our yard work were assholes and decided to throw sticks in there like they were spears and put a hole in the pool.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they're obviously they're not doing our yard work anymore.
No.
But yeah,
Okay.
now I think that's it from us.
All right. Galix, what have you got cooking?
Not too much going on here. My work. We finally sold the building that we were in before we moved to a new location. Apparently, so they're clearing out all the stuff that was left in it, and apparently, I might be able to get a lightly to heavily used office chair to replace the one I have in my bedroom. That's pretty busted. So that might be nice. We did manage to have Langrisser on Monday.
Yes.
So that was good.
Succeeded.
Yes. And let's see what else.
It took like 18 reloads from the save state.
I mean, that's better than just having to try to remember what you did to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think there was something else, but I can't remember it. So, oh yeah, I've been playing more Splatoon 3 because we're getting near the end of the season, and I'm trying to make up at least most of the catalog to get the poses and stuff. And I think that's about it.
The only really big thing I have to announce this week is that I'm looking into installing an AI chatbot pet for my VTubing endeavors on Thursday and Friday nights. I was watching another streamer, and she had a secondary avatar that was snarking lasciviously at her chat on TikTok. And it's a Twitch thing, and it only responds to Twitch chat, and it's only $15. But there's actually two components. There's the avatar animator that allows you to integrate text to speech or an AI component to actually respond to chat, and then there's a secondary component that actually parses the information coming from Twitch chat and responds to it dynamically and somewhat organically. And that can have a cost per use type thing, so each time somebody speaks directly to the bot and makes it interact, then there's a charge in virtual coins for that kind of thing. I've been told that typically, based on average chats for average users, that it can cost around $5 a month, and if you're doing a really fancy subathon, then you can go as high as $20 a month. So that sounds very in my budget for that kind of thing. It's just going to be a matter of actually getting the program and setting it up, and then deciding which avatar to use. Now, I did make an announcement on Twitter, on Twix, whatever the hell we want to call it this week, and mentioned that I'm probably going to use Val, because she's of all the characters in the Pink Panties Paradise repertoire, she is the most conscientious snarker among them. And of course, as a demon queen, she is the most lewd and lascivious. And according to the information I got from this other streamer, whose name escapes me at the moment, I apologize. You can actually program the bot to be as naughty as you want. So although I didn't hear anything that was particularly egregious, there was a couple of borderline statements about, being stepped on that I was kind of funny. But yeah, that's what I'm looking into, is getting a AI chatbot for one of the other avatar characters in my studio, so that way they'll be sitting on my stream monitoring chat, acting as a sort of moderator. I don't think I want to go to the level of sophistication of Neurosama, but yeah, that's definitely. This looks like it would be fun, and I think it would be a big draw for that aspect of the channel. Plus, it would give me some funny clippable stuff if I interact with the bot, and use text to speech to create banter between us. That was one of the things I had said that I wanted to do initially. I wanted to use a remote box and Video Ninja, so that way I could have more than one rig set up at the same time. And of course, getting that off the ground has been tricky because I am a one-person operation. So more as that develops. Keep an eye on my Patreon, because I do talk about a lot of what I'm planning on doing in the free section. So you don't necessarily have to donate in order to find out what the hell I'm doing. Or of course, you can follow me on both of all three of my Twitter accounts if you want. I, of course, am Micaiah Paladin on my primary account, and I am Frilly Pink 1, representing for Mace Palladino and the Pink Panties Productions side of the studio. Other than that, I've been sprucing up the streaming room in anticipation of our next session of Paladins on Friday with Alina and Atman. And hopefully we made some new friends last week, and it looks promising. Hopefully if they show up again, we can get them to play quick play with us, and we'll increase our win streak. We were finally starting to win some. I think Atman, Alina, and I are starting to mesh as a team. So again, just it just takes time for a new dynamic to actually start working, I think. And we have to get used to the play style absent certain other players that were contributing heavily to our win streak, i.e. carrying us. But yeah, that's it. All right. So without too much further ado, of course, we have a guest this week. Our guest this week is Christopher Curtis of Kanme Studios. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, what's going on? Small edit. I'm actually not with Kanme Studios.
Oh.
I was probably at the when we first talked.
Okay, well,
That doesn't change that. Okay.
Thanks for that. All right, so tell us.
We'll work with it.
Tell us about who you are with, and then we'll get to the second part of that question in just a moment.
Okay, well, as of right now, I'm just independent, but yeah, it's just me.
All right, so the second part is I believe we were bringing you on the show today to talk about jazz juggernauts against zealots.
Yes.
Is that still accurate? All right, perfect. Tell us a little bit about that and what you're hoping to do with that.
Okay. It's fairly simple. It's a manga style comic about 5 individuals who are self-tasked to discover the origin of portal spewing monsters that appear over their city. And they had a tip that the government of their city is involved. So it's a race to discover what their government's involvement is and how they can stop the portals.
Okay. All right, then. Let's get right to it. Adam, take it away.
All right.
To the point.
Well, okay. Anyway, I suppose we should start with the title here because that is just an amazing acronym. Like, and I'm wondering, how did you generate that?
Oh, I lost sleep over it. Uh, I come from the 2000s era of creativity where acronyms were kind of like a really big thing for things that didn't need acronyms, and I wanted something that was easy to brand on merchandise and on books and other things. So I racked my head for a while trying to figure out what's a really good acronym, and so I started to kind of like look within, and I realized that jazz is a genre of music, but it's also a form of disruption. It's a form of noise, and that to me was probably the most punk thing that I could think of. So when I got to that uh, conception, I had to think what four letters of words could work, and if I just figured out the Z's, I could figure out the JA. So um, I got stuck with zealous zealots, and I was like, screw it, it's fine. We'll just put in the other two over time, and it worked out. It's been one of my favorite projects so far.
I was going to say, alternatively, you could have said that you could have said military background. That would have been because anybody with a military background, acronyms everything.
Oh no, well I had that with my father, but I couldn't connect it.
All right.
All right. So I suppose that begs the question here. How reflective is this title of what's actually going on in the story? Versus you just wanted to have a nifty acronym. Like, are we talking about actual juggernauts fighting against zealous zealots?
Yes. There's not like there's no juggernauts. There's no fictional big guys from X-Men walking around, but it is a pack of five people who deem themselves to be of that stature, going after what they accuse is a fanatical government, which would be your zealous zealots.
Yeah, that's good because that's always a pet peeve of mine when it comes to these kind of fancy acronyms. There's so much time coming up with an acronym that it doesn't connect to anything.
Oh no, no. There was a person who asked me if it was a story about like anti-religion, and I was like, oh, well, I don't know what you mean by that. And apparently, that's what zealotry came from. Which I was like, oh no, no, no. I mean zealotry as the fanatical, and which I guess is still religious, but that's not happening here.
Yes, that is where the connotations originated, but yeah, zealotry isn't confined to just religion, like or zeal, for that matter. Like like you can be dedicated to, let's say, the government.
Right.
Or
Anyway,
certain fandoms.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm looking at you pretty much the entire shonen genre.
I'm like, not just honestly, I think it would be easier to list the kind of fandom that didn't wasn't susceptible to this kind of thing. Obviously not all of it, but so we all know those certain parts of fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so putting that all aside, who are who is this team, and who are they fighting against, and so on and so forth?
Okay. Well, these five, we each of them has a form of either a ability or a weapon. Um, Dean from a past portal monster that they have defeated and have extracted that ability from, which they learn in the story that the government is well capable of doing so, and it has been trying to do so, trying to use it for like a nefarious means. I can't say it, but our five characters are Liara Castile, aka Nova, um, Keisha Connor, aka Killswitch, Malcolm Duncan, aka Beats, Jay Morgan, aka Hex, and Hex's mech robot, whose name is Mute, who has the characteristics of the Bumblebee um, robot from Transformers. So he only speaks in distorted radio speak. But yeah, that's your five.
So the movie Bumblebee.
Yeah. Not the anything else.
Because I definitely remember like G1 Bumblebee being able to talk.
Yeah.
Anyway, so pulling back a bit, what is your background in the realm of comics previous to Jazz?
I did a short comic story about my family, about my two daughters and my wife, where my two daughters are tasked to uh, beat me up in a city while I'm trying to destroy it with food monsters. And it was a short project that I wasn't planning on printing or selling. It was something to do. It was actually a small gift that my kids never really took. So that's the only thing I've done in that aspect. But for the most part, I've just been writing scripts and trying to figure out which ones to go print.
And what was it about Jazz that made you want to move forward on it?
I've had too much fun on it. It's one of those stories that I've written most of it and planned all of it. And the more that I write, the more I realize that I need to see this through. Stories that were told in this kind of guise, I don't really see as often, and I just want to be able to make something that I enjoy. If people enjoy it with me, then that's a win too.
Mm. Yes, that is a creed I've heard before. You know, it's like if someone isn't making the thing that you want, then you might want to make it yourself.
Correct.
And it certainly holds true in certain regards, let's say. Um, uh, how do I put this? It's especially true when it comes to stories of, minorities of various backgrounds, because um, I'm not sure if we have like the Kickstarter page up on the stream, but the cast here is I want to say majority POC.
Yeah.
So, you know, for various reasons, that kind of story doesn't get shined upon as much as it really should. I'm
Not
like,
at all.
and in order for that to happen, creators such as yourself have to step up and do it a lot of the time that it's found.
Correct. And it's not easy at all.
No, I imagine it wouldn't, because from what I've been able to gather, this Jazz project has been kicking around for a fair amount, and I know it's had at least a few failed Kickstarters.
Oh yeah. And but those weren't because of Jazz. That's because I was very inexperienced.
Mm. But still, that begs the question: how long have you been trying to make Jazz a reality?
I started writing it late 2021, and then I really started kind of putting it into form 22. So about now 2 years.
Mm. That's a fair amount of time to be spending on a project. Like,
Yeah,
And
and if I had everything going the right way, I probably would have been further along than what I am right now.
no doubt, but obviously complications can arise, given that this is, for lack of a better term, real life, and real life has a tendency to put a hammer to plans.
Correct.
Anyway, so how have you been going about polishing your work over these 2 years?
If I'm not writing jazz, I do a lot of editing on other people's projects. Um, I just announced a while ago that there's going to be another comic book series coming from my team sometime in the fall. So I kind of just work with whatever someone sends me, and I just write. And when I'm not writing, I'm helping other people write, and in doing so, I kind of build my skills. It's kind of like a little RPG game in a way.
Yeah, I could see it. Like, and can you talk about some of the other comics you've worked on?
For the most part, no, because a few of those are unannounced, but I can do my own. I am doing a wrestling comic this year that's going to be set in the same universe as jazz, and we'll even do a lot of the connectivity between both the series, but they're not in the same city. So a lot of the issues that are happening in jazz will stay on one side, and the issues that are happening in the other comic will stay on the other side. But everything I do is in one whole universe. I plan to do a much bigger expanded story at some point in the next 2 years, but until then, I just kind of you know create things and then put them out there and get them to the right audiences and hope for the best.
Hmm. And when you say wrestling, do you mean pro wrestling or something more akin to MMA?
Oh, pro wrestling.
That's what I thought. Like, and I presume you are quite the fan of pro wrestling.
I dip in and out. Every so often, I look at it. I don't catch it every day, every week, but I try to catch up on it. It's actually a very good way to learn storyboarding if you pay attention to the long form storytelling that they do per year.
Kevin,
Well,
I think you.
yeah. It's they're basically what we like to call it casual, probably. But I do agree with him that when it comes to story building and storytelling, pro wrestling is at its best. And I use that very specifically, at its best and at its peak, a really good way to discover how to tell a story.
Mm-hmm. It's ironic because
but let me make that very clear. At its best, at its peak, and at its what's the word I'm looking for? Looking for a word. At its most logical, which is kind of weird to say in that kind of world, but at its most logical, best, and peak, it definitely is a way to build a story. So I just wanted to note that.
It's an interesting take because you really don't hear like storyboarding and pro wrestling used in the same sentence. But so, what is it about the storytelling of wrestling that helps you with storyboarding?
Most of your stories could either last a short while, or they can go for as long as like 3 years. As long as you can create the events in the middle that can help stretch it out without it feeling like it's too way down.
That's. I mean,
I completely agree with him. I completely agree with him.
Well, I mean, that would explain the bloodline, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Absolutely. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I was trying to find out where this was going, and now I got it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm very much into it week to week, month to month. So that's why I jump up at it.
I see.
Yes. Anyway, so with that in mind, can you tell us a bit of, this is a bit of a tie, but can you tell us a bit about the wrestling comic?
Yeah. So earlier last year, I worked with another creator. I pitched the idea to him, and then he took my pitch and he kind of like picked out the things that he liked to do with it, and then he made his own version. I'm still credited on the book as story by, but I took the pitch back and said, well, I'd rather just do the whole thing too, so that I feel like it needs to be told. But in short, it's about a wrestler who um, joins a wrestling circuit in hopes of being able to match up with his idol, and when he gets there, he's been told to kind of be a jobber for like all these like slow and out of shape dudes, and that his time will come, but he needs to give these other guys a chance to win. So he just kind of takes losses and losses and losses, and he kind of like figures like, maybe this wasn't for me. Maybe I'll go ahead and give up. So as he goes to give up, he meets his idol and tells his idol that this was not his dream. He wanted to wrestle him, but he instead is losing week by week. And his idol tells him that sometimes it's better to do the right thing when it feels wrong, and walks away. And he kind of connects it and says, well, shoot, maybe on my next match, maybe instead of losing, I'll just start winning. So during his match, he wins the match instead, and that starts off a huge chain of the CEO figuring out that this guy is not going to stay by the status quo. So he starts to undercut and send him multiple match cards that he has to undergo and undertake in different various settings and prevail. So it's very much it's almost in the guise of like My Hero Academia a little bit, and that's all that I can share right now. But it's going to be a big thing.
Like, it's very Austin versus McMahon, let's say.
Yes,
No.
it was me, Austin.
It's me all along.
Yeah.
It was me.
I do
Dio.
remember that.
Sorry.
Even better.
That's a different thing.
And
Close
yet
enough.
it still works.
Anyway, getting back to Jazz here. So you recently ran a Kickstarter campaign.
Right.
And this one was successful.
Yeah.
So how much were you looking for, in terms of producing this comic? Yeah. Like, how many issues?
How many issues? Oh man. So this is supposed to be, if I remember, because I don't have the doc right in front of me. So it's supposed to be around 12 or so issues. And we're going to start making them in volumes when they get to a certain number. So that way I don't have to keep trying to sell one by one. I can just sell a whole thing. But yeah, around 12 chapters in total.
Okay. And are you looking to print them quarterly or monthly or?
Quarterly.
About what I thought. A lot of the Kickstarter comics that we feature on the program go for the quarterly structure.
Oh, it's so much easier.
And it seems to be the kind of time frame that holds up to the Kickstarter model, because I'm going to presume that because the Jazz Kickstarter were for Chapter 0 and Chapter 1. So I'm presuming that another one will appear for Chapter 2 and Chapter 3?
Yeah, that one should be out. I want to say, let's see, it's February now. May, either April or May.
Okay. And how much of the 0 and 1 comics have been done? Like, I did see like issue 0 is on Webtoon here.
Mhm.
So what's the status of issue 1 in terms of its
Chapter
production?
chapter one's done. All I need to do is just print them off.
And was that what the Kickstarter was for?
Yes, it's for paying for distribution and more shipping, and to also pay my team who helped me do it.
Makes sense. And who is your team? Like, who have you assembled to help you bring Jazz into like actual comic form, if you will?
As of right now, it is my illustrator Ash Kohari of SK6.
Can't say I'm familiar with that one.
She's an uppercomer. She's actually in my Twitter bio.
Oh no, wait. I think she works on 9mm Girls, right?
That's her.
Yeah, no. I think we've met. We've had, like, not here, but on my other show, we've talked to the 9mm Girls people a while back.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Anyway, so what sort of distribution are you looking to have for Jazz in print? Like, will you be sending this to comic shops? Is it going to be like order online only? That sort of thing.
All the above. I have a line with a with a bookstore in my town that that has helped me in the past to move Captain Zero. But most of my online sales are either through my website or through TikTok, which has been crazy. It's one of those things that I didn't think would actually work, but it does.
Gotta admit, TikTok doesn't come up that much when we're talking about comics.
Oh, that's new.
Like, so how do you use the TikTok to sell Jazz? I am rather interested in that.
So when you put things on your TikTok shop and you market or make a video and you tag your shop items, it will jump you in algorithm because they want you to sell your products because they will get a cut of it. So they'll do everything in their power to help you make them money, in a sense. But it also helps you get exposure as well.
That is interesting. Yeah. I mean, Mac is more the expert on TikTok than I, since he actually uses the platform. But that definitely sounds like better engagement than what Twitter X has these days.
Well, considering the fact that Elon Musk deliberately goes out of his way to make sure that we can't advertise using his platform, the one that was supposed to be for global free speech and all that bullshit. Not that I'm bitter.
Well, yeah, then you might go somewhere else.
Yeah, like click on my link.
Yeah, that's the latest thing I've been seeing. Link in the bio.
Clearly, the problem is that you haven't moved your entire financial life over to X.
Yes, trust in Elon Musk. In Elon, we trust.
Remembering that has been his goal since like the year 2000.
Yeah, he nearly bankrupted and cratered PayPal. That's an entire saga all by itself, and the subject of a different podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like, we're not the Financial Times.
The only thing I'm dealing with right now with TikTok is replacing the music on videos that apparently had UMG music on it.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of sucked.
Mm-hmm. But so far, it's only been 3 videos out of 100. So, I think I can live with that.
Hmm.
And they didn't just
Blue
silence
Warner,
them.
no one else does it.
They at least they didn't permanently silence the videos, because that's what they used to do, was they would just silence the video and you were just ass out of luck. Now
I remember when YouTube used to do that.
Yeah, now it actually says, "Hey, would you like to replace the music on this video?" And I'd be like, "Sure."
Why not?
Exactly. Morgan Fairchild, that's my wife. There's a dated reference. Anywho,
People under the age of 40 going, Morgan Fairchild, who's that?
who's that? Sounds made up. Uh-huh.
So, like a lot of other references made on this show, like, look, we are not hip and with it. We never were.
Just the fact that you use the term hip. As I said on somebody else's tweet, I said even the word hip is cap now.
I don't doubt it, but
Paraphrase Abe Simpson. I wasn't even with it before they changed what it was.
No. I used to be with it, but they changed what
I said
it was.
paraphrase.
Anyway.
Anyway,
I wasn't with it even before they changed it.
We're professional.
Anyhow,
our podcast is professionally unprofessional and appropriately inappropriate. So,
yeah, pretty much. Anyway,
that's my trademark right there.
Right. So, is that all out of the system?
You started
just
the
want to
tangent. That's the hilarious part about all this.
I know.
All
And
right,
now I'm ending it.
I accept your interpretation of events. Let's move on.
Anyway, getting back to the Kickstarter here, what sort of tiers did you have? Did you offer any sort of physical rewards?
Yellow?
Oh yeah.
It would be right back in. Say the question again.
Oh, yes. So with your Kickstarter, what sort of reward / stretch goals did you have, and do you intend on having, what you did in the first Kickstarter be used in subsequent Kickstarters?
Most of my tiers were cover bundles. I had a bunch of variant bundles or variant covers that were tied just to.
Uh-oh, did we lose him again?
I think so.
oh boy, here we go.
And it was going so well.
Welcome
Yeah,
to the
we're on a
internet,
roll.
folks. Welcome to the internet, folks.
Yeah, we don't all have stable connections, unfortunately.
Well, this
Am I
seems to
back?
be on the guest end.
And we're back. Yes.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, that's better.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I guess my router decided to take a break. So, where was I at? Yeah. So, I choose to build FOMO so that I can get people to understand that once something is gone, it's gone for good. But most of my stretch goals have been along the lines of, if we fund this much, I'll sign all the books. If we fund this much, I'll make sure that they're all colored so that when we get them, they're nice little colors. But most of the things that I've done are not going to return on other campaigns. So if you miss out on a variant cover, that's it. So just trying to do high pressure campaigning, and so far that's been working.
I mean, if it works, it works. Like, so that does bring. What do you intend to do differently on the next Kickstarter?
Oh, no, that's the question. I'm actually in the middle of planning that right now. Because today was the final day, so I'm working on the next one. I'm trying to see if more or less physical items is the way to go. I just started doing more like stickers and keychains, and I'm starting to not see them getting much return on certain tiers. So I don't know if I should either move them to add-ons or just take them out completely. So I'm just kind of researching other campaigns, asking questions, asking people, "Hey, this works. What do you think about this?" And going from there.
I suppose if worse comes to worse, you can try the add-on option next time, and if that doesn't pan out, you just drop it afterwards.
Yeah, that also it's so many things I could do.
True enough. True enough. And another question here is how not safe for work does Jazz get? Because I see on the Kickstarter, it mentions some brief nudity, and some of the rewards were, let's say, racy pictures.
Jazz doesn't go further than brief nudity. You might get ounces of ounces. You might get like depictions of blood here and there, possibly, but there's not moments where we will linger on to nude bodies. Most of my nudity is done in that like police academy style of like comedy. So when you see them, it's done for like a gaff almost. But Jazz itself is not a every issue there will be nudity. Every issue is taken at a episodic range, so you kind of just you get it here, and then you don't get it here, but it's not like a every chapter thing.
I mean, the first Police Academy was rated R. Just pointing that out.
Oh, that's it. Well, I meant
there's the whole
maybe it's
sequence
wrong
where
movie.
Lieutenant Harris gets caught spying on the girls in the shower. Anyway,
I might need to go watch it again. Maybe I used the wrong movie.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying.
I
saying
mean,
that covers there's 7 films, so it covers a spectrum.
Yeah, gotta admit, I wasn't expecting Police Academy to end the conversation, but here we are.
All right. Anybody who's playing bingo, there you go. There's your last slot.
Anybody playing bingo, Yahtzee? Wait.
I mean, our conversations go places. That much is certain. Like, anyway, so I know it's early days on Jazz, but has this? I mean, I presume this comic has developed some sort of following, given that it has a successful Kickstarter to its name. So I'm wondering what the people who are who were interested enough to fund this, have they said what they see in Jazz?
Yeah, you know what? That's really funny. I feel like you may have seen the Kickstarter survey somehow. Today, I asked all the backers to tell me what made them pledge Jazz, just so that I had an idea of who likes what. So I'm in like the right spot, the right place, and it seems like a lot of the people love the characters, love the art style, and love the overall um, attitude and dialogue of the other one. So that's what they're kind of like expecting going forward. So I think we're in the right market this time.
Well, hopefully that is the case. I suppose it's not too far off from seeing. I'd say the first, not so much real reactions, but the first batch reaction. Like Because if I'm reading this correctly, issue 1 is heading out in March.
Yeah, but there was another campaign prior for Chapter 0, where most of the people that backed this one came from.
I see. So, well, I mean, that's good continuity, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Because nothing worse than you had successful Kickstarters, but you don't anymore. Like,
Right.
anyway, so have you found doing all this to be difficult?
The only thing really difficult at the time that I started doing this was trying to find an audience, and I thought that just following people was the audience, and then I learned the hard way it's not. So, getting out there and going into the right spots and making sure that you have a audience in mind makes the whole thing easier.
Hmm. Speaking of such things, do you do convention appearances and the like?
I did last year, and I realized that as fun as it was, I look better if I have more to offer. So I'm gonna probably go back the beginning of next year when I have a lot of books to give.
Makes sense. Like, right. So I think I've run through my gamut of questions. Does anyone else have anything further?
I'm good.
I might have missed this because I had to do a thing, but if now that the Kickstarter for the book is over, how is there? I know you said that there were local shops, but how could people get it now?
I will be putting all of my physical copies that I overship to my house on my website and on my TikTok, and I will be putting chapter 1 digitally on certain websites because I feel like people who want to read digital, I won't make you pay for digital again. If you didn't pay for digital the first time and you missed out on the timed exclusive, you can at least read it on another website that I can get ad revenue from. So it'll be free on Global Comics, Nami Kami, Webtoons, and possibly my website if I can remember to go put it up
Okay.
sometime in April.
Yeah, I was partly asking because I was curious to check it out, but I missed the Kickstarter thingy because I forgot that it ended earlier today.
It's no problem. I'll be boosting it around once like I said, I'm waiting for Kickstarter funds to kick in before I do all the shipping and whatnot. So check back in April.
Okay.
All right. Mac?
That's it.
Okay.
All right. Of course, it was lovely having you on the show. Do you have any appearances coming up that you'd like to flog?
Kind of. I haven't gotten. Oh, I do have the time period. Sometime this Friday. That's the only thing I know. Are you guys familiar with Mr. Isaac Fox of Foxy Comics?
It does
I
not
want to
sound
say
familiar.
yes,
Maybe.
but yeah, maybe.
Okay, he's like a hermit. I think we're doing a show on Friday with a couple other people. I don't know if it's a tape one or not, but that's the only thing I'm aware of. But now chapter 2 is coming out pretty soon in the next 2 or 3 months, and you guys missed this campaign today, which was my birthday, by the way. But if you come to the very next one, you can get a catch up tier, so that way you're not missing out too much.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I won't leave people out. At least on catch up. Now you won't get the variant covers, but you'll at least get the physical, so that you can be able to read them and go, okay, now I know what's going on.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for the interview part of it. Be sure to check online for availability of Jazz Juggernauts against Zealous Zealots.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and head out.
All right, boss. Thank you so much for being there. And when you have some updates, let us know, and maybe we'll do a recap visit.
Hey, I will. I had fun today. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Catch you later.
All right. I guess that brings us to our next segment. It's time for entertainment news. Adam, what is happening? You said something about Microsoft, so we may as well lead with that.
Actually, we're going to Funimation first.
Oh, okay. Let's
Or
have it.
shall we say the late Funimation, because
Mhm.
it's official as of April. What was it?
I want to say the 2nd.
Yeah, I
It is
believe
April 2nd.
so. Yeah, April 2nd. Funimation is officially going to be dead, and
Specifically, the Funimation streaming service.
yes,
the rest
which was basically the last surviving remnants of Funimation after it got swallowed up into the monster that is Crunchyroll.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Crunchyroll was a weird and esoteric little indie site that gave you like information?
It was a pirate site.
Japanese. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
information in the background about Japanese culture.
No, but I
It was
remember
a-
when it was a pirate site.
Pirate
Mhm.
site. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kiss anime of its day.
Mm-hmm.
When they first started airing Gintama on there, they actually added additional subtitles that explained the in jokes that were specific to Japanese culture. They no longer do that.
Yes. The liner notes. Like I've had anime go tapes. Like they didn't innovate
But that was like post them being an official distributor,
right,
and not
Well, it's
just like
something
and not just a combination of my anime list and also, hey, yeah, you can watch some of those here if you want.
Well, now they've gone full corporate
Anyway.
lazy and only have regular subtitles.
I mean,
If you're
that's been the
lucky.
case for.
Because
No, they
with
still
a lot of their stuff, they don't even bother.
they still need to provide subtitles. Like,
Yeah,
But some of them are just AI translated now.
yeah.
like
Oh boy.
we're getting off track here
Yeah.
because that is its own issue. Like, because what we're talking about specifically in regards to Funny Roll.
Yeah, the real issue is that they're merging your accounts into Crunchyroll accounts for twice the price, and also you'll be losing access to anything that Crunchyroll doesn't have.
Right. And in this case, it's a lot of dubbed material that isn't making it over. Like, I don't think I've seen a list yet, but I'm sure
we won't see the full list till closer to the actual cutoff date because they're still working on bringing some of the stuff over. So whatever list they give us now may not be accurate.
Right. But point is, some content is going to be lost here. Like, also, digital copies of stuff that you bought from Funimation isn't going to work anymore.
Goodbye.
Though from what I understand, that's been a problem previous to this. Though, further clarification, this is in regards to the extra copy that you get. Like, I don't know if you remember, when like everyone was having, when you buy this DVD or Blu-ray,
the disc plus digital thing. Like I know Disney did it a lot, and other places followed suit.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, you're
It's
losing
like-
your digital copy, which, I mean, if you still have a disc, you can fix that real easy.
Right. So it's not as egregious as some people are making it out to be.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's not great, but it's not unfixable, at least.
For everything
Yeah,
else, there's anime flicks.
For everything else, there's your fucking jellyfin server. I mean, wait, what?
Yeah, careful. Don't want to sick the copyright police out there, you know.
Well, it was nice having a Twitch channel while I had it.
Yeah,
I mean, using
we
your
said-
own jellyfin server is perfectly legal as long as you still own the shit on it.
Stop
Yeah.
saying the words.
Right.
No,
Okay.
you're not my dad.
I can
Never
remove
said-
you
we
from
never
the-
said-
I
we
can
said
remove
nothing-
you
we
from
said-
the chat.
We said nothing. We said nothing. You heard nothing.
Nothing of value is said
Anyway.
here, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so pour one out for the last ashes of Funimation because, that's going bye-bye.
I still find it weird they went with the Crunchyroll branding of compared to, the legacy that was the Funimation branding, but what do I know?
Mhm.
Because
Well-
Funimation isn't well known outside of the United States, and Sony is a international company.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
It's also
Also, as we're finding out with the catastrophe currently going on with Niji Sanji, the VTuber management group,
oh god.
Japanese companies have a very different philosophy on what is considered ethical in business.
Yes. Among other
Do we have-
things.
Do we have to
I mean,
talk
I'm pretty
about
sure
that?
there are Japanese companies that think any color is being kind of a bitch
Uh,
here, but
Frankly, we don't have to. We don't have to if you don't want to. I mean, I'm not. Well, I mean,
I mean,
I'm somewhat well versed in VTuber culture, but not with Niji Sanji. But,
It's relative. It's relative to my interests. Hey, Coleman. It's relevant to my interests, but it's up to you guys. This is a rather lengthy and nuanced subject.
I don't know. I think it's kind of relevant, perhaps.
Well, I mean, it definitely is in line with Corpo's gonna Corpo, I guess.
Uh huh.
It's like, oh, what? Surprise? Corporations are bad? Oh, I had no idea.
Let's finish the Crunchyroll funny topic first and see where we're at.
Yeah. Finish that.
I think we're done. Honestly, we're done with that. Like,
All right, fair
I'm
enough.
not sure.
went over the basics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
The real things are, aside from the name change, double the price for your subscription starting next year, and you can't keep your digital extra copy things.
Oh, not even next year. I think it's next billing cycle.
Annually, yes.
Well, I mean, like, if your billing cycle ends to, next month, you're going to be charged double.
The one I saw said January 2025.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, and is that just for people who are Funimation?
I think so, but I
premium
wouldn't be
users?
surprised if the price was if that was just either already the Crunchyroll price or just what it's going to be.
Yeah, I know I'm on a monthly plan, so I'm not really sure what exactly mine would come out to yearly. And like, I tried to look, and like, there's no easy way to change your plan without canceling it and all that rigmarole. Because fuck you, Crunchyroll.
Huh.
So yeah, I have no idea on that.
all right then.
Mm.
So take it away on Niji-san.
Niji Sanji. Niji Sanji.
Niji Sanji is like one of the top 2 or 3 bigger VTube management organizations.
Specifically in
and-
Japan.
No, everywhere.
They're
everywhere.
the global one. Because I know there are a
They're the
couple.
Yeah.
They have U.S.
Parent-
branches too.
parent-
This is relevant to a U.S. branch talent.
And parent company, any color. Yes.
Yes. So they abruptly terminated their relationship with Selen Tatsuki, who is one of their more popular talents, for many reasons that I'm sure Matt can probably go into more detail than I have. She is, I believe, currently holding her comeback stream on her previous VTuber identity. But yeah, apparently she was treated really badly for a long time. So they terminated her, alleging that she'd broken a whole bunch of guidelines, and then they sent out a financial report to their thing saying that they do not think that terminating their arrangement with their most popular talent will have any financial impact.
Meanwhile, thousands,
They were wrong.
Yeah. Meanwhile, thousands of people have mass exodus on all of their talents. Like literally, the first day, their top remaining talents lost upwards of 5,000 followers each. In addition to that, over a 5-day period, they lost over 8% of their market value.
Good lord.
Yeah, their stock is gone down the fucking shitter.
I mean, literally, the graph on it on the Japanese stock exchange shows it's like.
It fucking got suplexed.
Yeah,
It wasn't doing great, but then they said it wasn't going to have any effect, and then it fell off a cliff.
Yeah,
no, up. It's like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, that's like
Oh,
telling,
this won't be too bad. I don't know.
it's like telling Reddit not to try to save a company.
Well, and that, and also just like that. If anything, that is even worse news for like the treatment of their talent.
Now, keep in mind that this overall is a $2.5 billion organization. So the fact that they were doing things like taking 3 to 6 months to pay royalties to their talent, refusing to approve collaborations internally with shared talent, dragging their feet, not responding to internal company emails, sanctioning people and restricting them when they go out, and because Selen actually went and acquired the rights to music for collabs to speed things up, so it didn't take 6 months to do this, strike while the iron is hot, type situations. And they were just dithering, and it's like, what do you do? It's like, if your CEO is personally walking away with $1.1 billion of your $2.5 billion of market value, what the fuck are you actually doing?
Bad business.
Apparently. So they are now
listed, making money off people.
So they are now being listed as a lowercase b black company. And in the industry, notice how I said that, because I want to make sure that people understand that this has a very specific connotation. A black company is a company you do not do business with in this particular instance, because they are scumbags. They are the management equivalent of slumlords who leverage their talent's popularity to line their own pockets. Not that I have opinions on this subject.
As opposed to the capital B version, which are literally criminal.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Capital B, you're dealing with possible Yakuza.
No, hold on a second. No, because capital B would be referring to African American or black creators. That's why I made the distinction.
Oh, okay.
So that it wasn't interpreted as racist.
Oh, no. It's also capital. I thought capital B is also like black company with a capital B is a term of Japanese like industry, like overall corporate culture.
I didn't know about that, but I was just saying.
No, it's an existing term for a possibly literally criminal company that generally treats their employees like absolute shit.
Well, that's just regular black company. That's I don't know anything about the distinction between you know what, Gallix, I would probably wager that Yakuza-run companies would treat their employees better. Because they have.
You'd think so.
Because in a manner of speaking, they have a sense of honor.
Well,
I'm just letting you know
that
that is a literal, that is an existing term in Japanese corporate culture.
Okay, well,
It's
I'm making the distinction for our less nuanced Western listeners.
Mhm. Yeah.
and
as an industry
Yakuza-
term, this references a bad company. It does not reference a racial minority or ethnicity. It is a reference to a bad company. I just want to make that distinction. That's all.
Yeah.
Because some people
probably
don't
Yakuza
know.
companies. Yeah.
I would wager a large number of our listeners don't know the difference. So,
if it wasn't for what is it, the ZOM 100 or whatever, I probably wouldn't have really understood the concept of a black company.
Uncolaman says, I've heard a lot of comments that Las Vegas casinos were a lot nicer when they were run by the mafia.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Maybe. I mean,
the floors were cleaner, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, probably the Luxor wouldn't be a mess if that was the case, if they were running that thing right now. But it's a Doritos chip this week, so.
Bro.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. No, seriously, it's literally put like a Doritos ad in on the front of the Luxor for Super Bowl week this week because.
Okay, yeah.
I would imagine that their booking computers are being run by a Dorito as a chip.
Probably. From what I understand, probably.
Thanks to Weird Al for that reference.
Probably.
What kind of chip?
Considering from what I've read, from what I've heard about the Luxor these days, that's probably what's happening.
Historic Nerd says, could you imagine if the Excalibur, if it was run by mafia Italians dressed as knights?
Okay, can we actually get that timeline?
But anyway.
Your lordship, it would be terrible. You got a nice castle here. It'd be terrible if something were to happen to it.
Make a movie out of that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So we're currently trailing the, train somewhere off in the field somewhere.
I mean,
because we were talking about Nijisachi.
But yeah, back on the nominal topic, one of the major behavioral infractions they cited on terminating her was the whole you're not following the appropriate procedures for getting your content cleared, but you're going around our official procedures and contacting directly with the company, which it was necessary to get anything done.
Yeah, so it's like so we have these procedures in place to help streamline the process, but if we never actually start the process on your behalf, then the Byzantine natures of our processes are moot because of the fact that we're actually not going to do anything anyway. So if you want to do a thing, don't bother. That was basically what was going on.
Yeah, that's the point where you go throw your hands up. Okay, so what do you do?
And this is not a unique case. They've lost 4 major talents in the last, I'll be generous and say, year. Pomu Rainpuff worked for them, and she was a pretty big deal, and she's gone.
A number of people over the last week there has already been a creator exodus. I actually was seeing tweets from other creators from Niji Sanji that are specifically Niji Sanji EN, their English division. There's already a mass exodus in place, and I have put out there in the wild to some of the other independent creators who have been talking about this. I said, look, it's all nice and good to say, but good people are left behind, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of there were good people left in Germany argument, and I don't know if that's really the look we want to be making here.
Yeah, it's like when it's pretty damn clear that the business is fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's like get out.
I suggest
Like,
that
if
if
you
there
could
was
get
an
out-
avenue,
Yeah.
if there was an
Yeah.
avenue that these people should be starting to look at their exit strategy for quietly
Yeah, it's like
leaving, for
back up-
quietly leaving
yeah,
the company, create a new identity if necessary. I mean, I know it's
Mhm.
arduous, but if you were making any kind of money off of this already, you know, you're in a way better position than I am to rebrand. You know,
Find the VTuber Protection Agency.
get the safe house for lost cat girls. Oh,
Whatever.
my God.
Whatever animal you are.
Yeah.
Although there's a lot of hybridization, but that's a whole other tangent I don't want to get into.
Yeah.
I'm a cat girl shrimp / lobster VTuber. Okay.
Look, you can't just have one theme these days. There's not enough themes.
It's wild. This whole thing is just utterly amazing, and it cratered. I mean, it's been going on for a long time, but once the ball started rolling on this, the snowball effect was instantaneous. I don't think I've ever seen karmic come up and slams anybody down so quickly in all the years I've been on the internet.
And yeah, apparently the English branch is worse than the Japanese branch. I haven't heard too much about the Japanese branch.
Yeah, I don't know, and a lot of this stuff, keeping in mind that the and I'll use the term again, the Byzantine nature of Japanese contract law is in place because they have these extraordinarily complex issues of copyright and so on and stuff in Japan. And where it gets messed up is that they apply these sort of draconian policies even to their international talents where these rules do not apply. And it is extraordinarily restrictive and somewhat hostile, to put it mildly. And I think if they had done a better job communicating that in the first place. I mean, I'm not trying to be an apologist for bootlicker or anything like that. You know, this is not a defensive scumbag behavior, because there is plenty of that going around. But I'm just saying, I think that for the takeaway of this should be that for any other management organization that is doing something similar, that they need to have a sort of kinder, gentler buffer for their international talents to try to explain these nuances instead of just, you know, there's a deeper thought here, but I'm not sure how to articulate it because I'm still relatively new to the scene myself. But I think you guys get where I'm going generally on this.
Unfortunately, a lot of VTubers want to be managed because you do get potentially get a lot of resources and promotion and stuff from that kind of thing.
True.
I mean, if there were no benefits from it, nobody would do it.
Right, but you do potentially lose out on some freedom, and also, you know, not all management companies are equal.
Well, ironically, Adam, I did make the reference literally this morning. I made the reference to somebody that if there weren't benefits to it, no one would do crime either.
Of course.
In a fittingly ironic turn of events. Yeah, I don't know. But Gollix is definitely right about it. You know, if they're I've talked about this many times on the show since I've started my VTuber journey, and since we've started ever since we started podcasting and doing everything else, the difficulties of organizing the show. Adam, you know firsthand about casting, running an interview, setting up the visuals, you know, having a coordinated staff with Pettyfan, you know, setting things up so Gollix can translate for me. You know, I mean, there's just that alone. This is not a long-term one-person operation. Even just running a podcast like this, it is not realistic to expect to be able to just, buy a microphone, get internet access, ? Profit. That's not
maybe back in the talk shoe days, but now with all the visual stuff we have going on and stuff like that, no way.
Especially not the profit part, which we still don't exactly have a.
the physical bar to the sort of bar to entry is high. There's already people hogging the market as far as,
and we aren't in true crime either.
Right. There's a lot of people hogging the market, and it's interesting because as one person trying to be an entertainer on the internet, getting yourself heard is the greatest hurdle, because once you get yourself heard and people start coming and finding you, then you can start looking at the profit angle of it, and to say it's intimidating would be one of the grossest understatements of all.
Because there are a lot more people that. A lot more personalities people have been listening to a longer time, that we need to make ourselves more interesting than them.
Yeah.
To make them worth our time, or vice versa.
Subject material, planning, writing down the questions, editing clips, managing your social media. There is so much to this that if this is what you want to do as your vocation, if this is what you imagine to be your life's work, you got your work cut out for you. That's the thing that most people don't understand. So these agencies, they have a very strong siren song allure of, well, we've already got a captive audience, and we'll bring them to you. You don't have to go to them. We already have the platform, and they built it.
We have people on staff who can help build you up a new avatar.
Mm-hmm. There's so much
stuff
to
like
it. There's
that.
so much to it. If you try going this alone, you spend thousands of dollars on building, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars building an avatar that stands out. Then you've got the rigging. Then you've got the knowledge of the software and programming necessary to even get it on the internet. And it's like, even with the knowledge that I've acquired, as much as we don't invoke her name, or try not to, Varias did have a lot to do with setting me up on that. She was the one who did all the studying on that. So everything that I now know, is because of her research into the subject. And then, I expanded on that research to move this whole thing forward. And all of the things that I plan on doing now, there's software to buy, there's advertising to do. If you are an independent tuber of any kind, whether it's face cam, clip show, informational, interview, whatever, there is a metric ton of work that goes into this. And if you have a lapse for even a minute, you lose audience. So it's intimidating. And so, so the appeal of these organizations definitely makes sense to me. I understand it, and unfortunately, it is a function, it is a feature, not a bug of capitalism, that there will be those studios that will exploit people. Because they're like, this person's big and up and coming, and it will enhance our brand. And as soon as we get them under our yoke and impose our rules upon them and rein them in, we'll be able to mold them into the great entertainment juggernaut that will make us buttloads of money, and we'll pay them a pittance on the back end, for their efforts. Oh, you wouldn't have, and of course the gaslighting and control begins. Oh, you wouldn't have made it without us. And it's like, well, I was already famous before you approached me. That's kind of why you approached me, was you wanted to absorb my audience. Know your worth, folks. Know your worth.
Mine's 0.
Oh, stop it. If that were true, you wouldn't be here.
Okay, 20 cents.
Hey, look, that's 20 more cents than we had yesterday.
Anyway, so are we done with this, or
Yeah, that was quite a bit. Is there anything else? Other
yes?
Than, Eddie, yeah, go on. Let's move on to the next subject then.
All right. So this isn't about what has happened, but this is about what most likely will happen.
Mhm.
Is perhaps the best way to frame it.
Okay.
It's okay. So we may be on the precipice of the biggest change in the video game world in quite some time.
Probably 23, 24 years.
Or maybe we're not. Like, because we don't know exactly what's going on, but we do know something is going on. Like, so to if you haven't heard the
There have been
rumors,
relatively strong
Yeah.
rumors of Microsoft having its first party exclusive stuffs become available on PlayStation.
right? Like, and everyone is treating this as a big deal, but here's the thing: we don't know the extent. It's like, it's like, it started with Hi-Fi Rush. It looks like out of all the rumored titles, this one is like, this is the one that's going to be ready to go next week. When Microsoft
There
formally
are
announced
already shirt textures that would presumably be console related to the other consoles in the data of the latest update of Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes, and it's appeared on rating boards and so on and so forth. And then it's got extended to Sea of Thieves. And just this past Sunday, we've the rumor mill churned out that the likes of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Starfield. I'm trying to remember what else was there.
Sea of Thieves.
You
Yeah,
said
Sea of
that.
Thieves. Forza Horizon 5, I think, has been mentioned at some point. Might be going third party. And this is snowballed into just all sorts of wild directions. Microsoft is going to make everything third party. Microsoft is getting rid of the Xbox brand. Like, just, we are in a time of wild and insane speculation, folks. And it's gonna
Buckle
be the
the fuck up,
longest.
it's gonna get crazy.
It's
Relatively
already
little has
crazy.
been confirmed so far, but it does seem increasingly likely that they're making a relatively major move.
Mm-hmm. It's like, the thing is, we don't know what the move is, or what's the extent. Like, also, it's all it's also the publisher situation, because Microsoft owns 3 publishers now. I guess technically 4, technically 5. Activision, Blizzard, and King are their own publishers, but point is, we don't know how far Microsoft is going to go with this. And oh dear God, the console warring. So so tedious. Like, so,
Which is, it's really funny nowadays because the meaningful performance differences between the consoles are pretty negligible. It's not like back in the day when there like actually were significant performance differences between the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, or the
it's not
Nintendo
about
64 and the
performance, though.
PlayStation. No, it's just now the only actual meaningful difference in the console is like what games are on them.
it's not the only meaningful difference. It's like this has to relate to the biggest difference, and that is sales penetration.
Very
Hint:
fair.
the PlayStation 5 has done really well.
Mhm.
The Xbox Series X has done really bad. Like,
Hell, even the Switch has done really well. Didn't they? The last earnings thing was like 153 million.
well, they just put out their latest earnings report yesterday,
Yeah.
and but yeah, Nintendo's killing it with the Switch. Like, the indicators seem to be that Microsoft isn't really doing well with the Xbox, and
Well,
more
it feels like
specifically,
last year Microsoft stopped releasing sales figure for the Xbox.
Microsoft hasn't released sales figures since the Xbox One days.
Yeah.
That gets into another, big rumor that Microsoft is going to allow the third-party Xbox, like basically reviving the 3DO business model, which is so fucking stupid. I don't have time to get into why. Oh wait, no, I do. Yes, I do. It's like it's because hardware is really fucking expensive. It's like you want to
Especially
know where
when
they
you've
make.
been in third place for the last 2 generations.
It's like make your money back on software. Like, and Microsoft hasn't. It's not just that Microsoft isn't making the margins or whatever. It's like, keep in mind, Microsoft has also spent a lot of money on buying video game companies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they spent $7 million on Bethesda. They spent like $69 million on Activision Blizzard. Like, here's that thing: that money is not. You're not going to get the return on investment from a single console.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, this is a big question mark around, say, Xbox Game Studios. The mainline, the main Microsoft publisher, if you will, because I haven't heard anything about like Avowed going multi-platform. To cite one example, or
you said million, you mean billion, because the value of Activision is $75.4
yes.
billion dollars.
Yes.
They bought them for $68.7 billion, and at the conclusion of the deal in October of 2023, the value was amounting to $75.4 billion. So they're already making a profit just existing.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. Microsoft is making a lot of money off of gaming now. In fact,
While
it's
laying
like
off staff.
number. That's beside the point.
Yeah.
It's like now number 2, number 3 in their earnings report. Though here's where the double-edged sword comes into play. Now that it's such a major part of Microsoft's business, that means the scrutiny gets turned on ever more.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't heard of any specific pressure, but the Microsoft executives could be feeling the pressure to go multi-platform.
Mm.
The point is, it's a time of wild speculation, and we know there's something going on because Microsoft has officially confirmed that they will be talking about the future vision of Xbox sometime next week. That's another thing. We don't have like an official time and date yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't see anything. It's just next week.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, this is because things have gotten so leaky they had to move up their plans.
Yeah.
From later on in the month.
Because like, wasn't this originally supposed to be like a summer announcement thing?
I heard later on in the month.
Mm.
But like the big thing I've heard that seems to be the most likely thing confirmed is like at this Vision conference, if you will. This is where Hi-Fi Rush gets announced for the multiplats. Possibly Sea of Thieves as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in Starfield, that's rumored to go. That's rumored to be heading to the PlayStation 5 in the next few months. I question this. I question this heavily. I'm like, I don't think Starfield will be ready to go that soon.
Right.
It's like, from what I remember, like they stopped working on Starfield when it went to Xbox. So I'm wondering who, like, could they really bring it to the PlayStation 5 that fast? Like,
Right.
especially since they're still supporting the Xbox and PC versions. Like, and remember, we're talking about Bethesda Studios here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their manpower isn't the biggest.
Right.
So, as far as anything upcoming, well, that's all upcoming. So, it's not out yet.
And if they still want to keep the Xbox brand going, there's still very much the possibility of just timed exclusives.
But
Elder
the other
Scrolls
thing
6
that
is Xbox exclusive for a year or two, and then comes to other platform type situation.
the other thing that's been lost sight of is Microsoft is already the most multi-platform first party out there. Because it seems like people have forgotten that Minecraft is already multi-platform.
Yeah.
The Ori series went to the Nintendo Switch.
Because
Microsoft,
Microsoft is under no obligation to keep supporting Minecraft after, what was it, Wii U and PS3 version?
something like that. Like, and there's a whole bunch of contract stuff and like Bethesda's legacy content. Like the Quake remasters showed up on the PlayStation and the Switch, and nobody bat an eye there. Also, all Microsoft releases have been on Steam since like 2013, which is a third-party platform. Remember when Microsoft was pushing the Microsoft Store, and eventually they gave up on that. Like they still release shit on the Microsoft Store.
Yeah.
It's the Microsoft Store, so
Most
nobody
of the
noticed.
games now push to the Xbox launcher instead of in the Microsoft Store.
Yeah. So that's where we are. That's where we are at this point in time. We know something major is happening in the near future, but we don't know to the extent. And people's imaginations are running wild, and like the PlayStation 5 owners are being incredibly smug. And the Xbox owners are screaming, spoony betrayal right now. Oh God, it's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, it's exactly what that's kind of.
On the other hand, I do get it. It's like
we had this before when Sega did this.
right, and it's also like there are millions of people who did buy Xboxes, and they invested money, sometimes quite a bit of money, in that ecosystem, and for what? It's like it's like I know people have been chiding this, but it's like this kind of psychology does exist. You know, so I get it. I'm not saying it's being expressed well, but I get it. Like, this is actually some pretty basic psychology stuff.
Yep.
Anyway, so more on this next week, probably.
Potentially,
Unless
yeah.
unless they're holding that event on the next Thursday.
Next Thursday
Yeah.
or Friday, which would not be surprising.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Watch them do it
anyway,
Friday as a Friday night news stuff.
Anyway, I think we're good for the week.
All right. Well, that was quite the episode. What we got coming up next week? We've got Stephen Brio of Unearth Film Corp. Adam, did you have anything beyond the blurb that you wanted to say about this?
This is going to be an interesting one.
Okay.
It's like, so basically they're a purveyor of indie horror.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to remember if they create the movies or if they just distribute them. It could be a mixture of both. Suppose that will come up in conversation. But also, they're one of these firms that are propping up the physical media. Really into that. So it's going to be interesting. Like, I don't think we've covered a entity like this on the program before.
I'm trying to remember. I think there was a time, a long time ago, when we had an independent filmmaker from Tucson that I ran across at Bookman's. And I still haven't watched their movie. I have it on Blu-ray. I bought a copy off of their table, and I thought back in that era when I was still working there, like around 2013 or so, when we were doing. That was during the Ustream/live stream era of the show. So my memory of what actually happened is a little spotty. Especially since it's difficult to recover those podcasts because they're all in raw form with pre-show and post-show slammed together into one giant recording.
Yeah, here it is. They are a U.S. film distribution and production company.
It looks like they've been around for almost 22 years now.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. So but we have sort of touched on this arena before,
right?
But not to this extent.
Yeah, but I don't think. Yeah, I mean, we used to have Brad on the show all the time, and he did this kind of thing on an individual level as well. Yeah.
So this is.
I'm just saying,
but I'm saying like indie studio, like I having an actual regional independent studio. I think the closest we had was that outfit from Tucson like 10 years ago. So
right. So
I vaguely remember that show happening.
Point is, this is something new and different.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for this era of the show.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking forward to this. This is right in my wheelhouse. So I'll need to go look at some of their stuff before next week, so that way I can speak intelligently on the subject. But I definitely looking forward to that. So other than that, I will be doing Up Late with Mace tomorrow at 10, playing Honkai's Star Rail as Mace. I'm not going to be implementing this chatbot pet yet. That's going to take some time to suss out how to make that work and actually set it up. And plus, there's a couple of components I have to buy before that's going to be a thing. But it'll be just me in my digital avatar form for your viewing entertainment. Hopefully, we'll get a good 3 to 4 hours out of that. And then, of course, Friday's the big day. We have FPS Shenanigans at 6 with Alina and Atman, and whatever fans / randos were able to acquire to play Paladins. And then at 10 o'clock, I'm hoping to finally resume the art stream because I have a lot of lore comics in order to catch up with for Up Late with Mace. So fingers crossed, everybody. But again, thanks to our guests, Chris Curtis of Juggernauts Against Zealous Zealots. And be sure to Google search that for all the latest information. And we'll see you all next week. Until then, I'm your host, Mac Paladin. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, kids.